Okay, hi guys, welcome to the video. So in this video I'm going to teach you how to make this effect, these kind of blurry kind of ball effects with like some really nice gradients. So we'll go through gradients, how to make shapes, I'll show you how to make like a really easy border, and this is really, I use this to create posters like this, and then I sell them in my Etsy store. And I'm just going to show you how to do the same. So we're doing this in Affinity. I assume you're familiar with Affinity. It's a great suite of applications actually. So all of these are different applications, but we're going to do this in the vector because this is like a vector design, like a fully digital design. Pixel is like Photoshop, and it's all free. So because Canva bought the company Affinity a couple of years ago, to use the AI tools, you do need a Canva account, but to use the program currently, it is completely free. So you can download this, get started, have a play, even if you want to stop using Adobe because it's so insanely expensive and start using this, or you just want to get started with this kind of stuff. This video is for you. So we start by just creating a new document. When these little marks pop up here, guys, as you can see, that is my mouse click, and then if I type something it would come up as well. That is just to show you what I'm doing, so I'll kind of zoom in and pause to make it like super clear what I'm doing. I'm doing this all on a Mac, so I'll put in the equivalent for Windows next to these as well if you're using a PC. But the first thing to do, guys, is open up a new document. And I've done an A0 template. You can create whatever you want. So you can pick one of these standard templates. Obviously, they've got A3 there. You can just click on that and get started if you want to just jump right in. I do a big A0 canvas size because I usually end up putting these, like I say, on my Etsy store, and we want to have that like big high resolution, and then kind of, you know, if someone's bought your big poster, they can then shrink it down with all the high resolution. It's a lot easier to do that than it is to like blow something up that's small. You can also, like I say, with this kind of menu on the side here, you can change width and height however you want, and it's got a load of different metrics here, but we won't go into that in too much detail. I've got other videos if you want to check that out, but this we'll just crack right on and get into it. So we've got our new canvas. I'll just zoom out a bit with command minus, maybe even a little bit more. First thing we'll do, we'll use the shape tool. So even though that's saying rectangle now, that's kind of because it's just the default, but we click on there, this menu should come up, or it should kind of pop out depending on your settings. But we basically start with the ellipse tool, and there's basically a couple of different ways to use this. So you can kind of click and drag, but if you click and drag without doing anything else at the same time, it doesn't like kind of lock in terms of like aspect ratio or scale. So you want to hold down shift, as you can see that then like locks in place. I start with like a nice big circle, and then we go up here to the move tool. So you just want to go up there, click that, and then we can move this around to wherever we want. We can put it slightly off the page, doesn't really matter for now, we can play with it later. Again, holding down shift and then mouse click, we can move that, make it the size we want. Now, next we want to do is get the gradient how we want. So how we do gradients is you click on this tool here. This is the fill tool. So if you wanted to just fill it with like a normal color, you can use the fill tool, but right now it's just on the gradient tool. So this will give us a gradient, and the way we do that is we click kind of wherever, doesn't really matter, but the best way to demonstrate this, I'll click here and then I will drag that through there, as you can see. So that's dragging that gradient through there. And there we go. So we've got our basic gradient there, and then in order to show this properly, and we want if we just try and replicate this design, so we'll do a green one. The way we do this is you want to make sure that you've got your color swatches up here. If you can't see this, it might be because you've got something else selected. So you might have appearance selected, or stroke, or swatch. You want this nice cool color wheel triangle thing here. And then you also want to have your layers panel down the right side. So with path brush is quick effects style. So like I say, you can click on all these other things, but you just want layers because that's what we're going to be using. Now the way this works is if you look at that shape, but then I click this outer arrow that's locked in this circle, you move it around and it will change color depending on where you place it on that outer kind of ring. So we'll take that down to a nice solid green, and then you can see there's this other little circle here. You want to click on that other little circle, and then you can see as I move this around, if I put it over there, it will go really white. If I put it over there, it'll be black. If you put it over there, it'll just be really strong green. So what we want for this one is we want to make it nice and dark, but then we also want it to be nice and, you know, a strong green color. So usually the best thing to do is kind of put it right on that edge there. So it'll be like a nice dark green, somewhere around there looks good. So then we see we've got that green there. And then this we usually have on really bright white. So you can use these swatches up in the corner here as well. So just make it like completely white. But then what you want to do, this is like a really boring gradient, but I mean sometimes just having two gradients is absolutely perfect. But what we want to do is put a load of gradients in so we get a nice smooth change of color. So all you do is click in different places, as many as you want. I wouldn't do too many because then it just gets silly and you also like don't see the difference. But that should be enough. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that looks good. You can also use these little arrows here. You can move them, and that will kind of change the shade difference between these dots. So what we want to do is create like a gradual shift. So as you can see, this dot is there. That means it's all the way over here on that triangle. You also want to make sure on every dot that the color on the outer circle is in the same place, like more or less. I mean, you can play with this and change it if you want. You can do some really cool different color effects if you want to move it. But if you want just like kind of the same color, like the same green and the same shade of green, or the same kind of the type of green, but just going from dark to light, you want to make sure that that arrow's in the same place. So we'll have that there. That's actually in like a pretty good place. I might just bring it like a little bit forward, because what we're going to do is kind of like a C curve, if you know what I mean. Half circle kind of curve. And then we'll do this one. That one's a little bit too light, so we'll bring that kind of here. And then with this one, we'll bring that, you know, here. And that is looking pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty nice. Like I say, you can just like tweak this and change it however you want. I might even make that one a little bit darker. And then you can like grab these and just like bring them in if you want, like all the way in like that, which actually looks quite cool. And then if you want like this to be more white, you can bring that in. Now you can then press escape. No, not escape. You can just click the move tool. And I always kind of default back to the move tool, because that just, you know, you're only going to like move it around. So you're not going to like change anything. You're not going to change the colors or anything. So it's like kind of a good idea to just change back if you're just going to do different things. Now what we're going to do is add the effects. So to do that, we've clicked on the shape. But if you had like a lot of different shapes, say there was other elements here, you would want to click on the layer. But we've got the layer selected. You can see up there the layer selected because this is highlighted in blue. And then we go down to effects. Just down here, we want to click on that effects button. And then that will bring up this panel. And then the effect we want is called Gaussian blur. And then with the Gaussian blur, as you can see, right, we'll dial this up and it will make those gradients like really nice, like this nice kind of soft. They're all like blend into each other. It's really nice. Now, it goes up to 100, but you can go over that. I like to actually do about 200. I think is quite cool. And you can even go like 250. It's awesome. Yeah, looking good. And then even, you know, I think maybe it's a good shout to make it a bit bigger. And then, you know, we'll bring it in. And then again, you can like play with this as much as you want, guys. So we go back into the gradient. You know, maybe we like press Command Z to just, you know, like undo if you make an error. The thing to do is just make sure that you flip between tools. Yeah, so if you want to move and then make it bigger, you know, but then you want to go back to the gradient, make sure you go back to the gradient, otherwise you can kind of mess things up. We're done with the Gaussian blur for now. I'm happy with that. So what we'll do now is we will copy this to create the second sphere, second circle, and that is Command C and then Command V, as you can see. So we've created another one up here. You can see the different shapes up there. And then what you can see in this photo is that the darker bits are far away from each other and the lighter bits are kind of touching. So we want to create that. How we do that is we rotate. So as you can see, you just hover over the corner and then that you can see that's changing. That means you can now rotate. So hold down Shift and it will rotate in 15-degree increments. Or if you don't really want to do that, you can just go off Shift and then you can just rotate it however you want. And now this is kind of have a play with this. Make it however you like, whatever you think looks good. Maybe we make this one a little bit smaller. And I'm kind of make it so that they're like kind of crashing into each other, like connecting with each other almost. I just think that looks quite cool. But like I say, you can kind of do it whatever your preference is. And then we rotate this around, like say, just so they're kind of like crashing into each other. And yeah, it's kind of looking good. But like I say, you can play with this as much as you want, add loads more color in there. Now what we want to add is like a nice little background, and the way we do that is we go back to our square tool again, rectangle tool, and then make sure you've got snapping on. So snapping is this little button up here that will make sure it will pick up like kind of key points that it will lock onto basically, and that will help you draw accurately and draw exactly where you want it to draw. If I take this off, you can see I'm not snapping. It would be really hard to get it exactly in that corner. When you turn snapping on, you get it exactly in that corner with these two lines, and you'll feel it. Like so, as you go to this corner, you'll feel it kind of grab it. So then we drag that over. Now, what's happened here is two things. One, we're still on gradient, so you get a gradient. I don't want to use a gradient. If you want to have a gradient, then that's all good. But we want to go onto the gradient tool, but turn it off gradient. So how we do that is up here are the different types of gradient. So this is fill, stroke is a different thing. I won't go into that, but we'll go linear. So to turn it off, these are all, the top one is no gradient. These are all different types of gradient. I won't go into that because it's not really a gradient tutorial. So we just go to none. This rectangle is on top of the two circles. So how I fix that is I just grab this layer up here and then I pull down until you kind of see this. You see this like little gradient blue bit under here. Make sure you don't have that. Make sure you don't even have that line. You want to keep dragging it down until you see this little kind of like gradient, almost like shadow under that layer, and then you release. And then these two circles will be sitting above the rectangle. Now what you can do is you move this one around like I showed you earlier, and we can take it on green. And if you wanted, you could have this kind of wild nonsense, what's going on there, but we don't want that. See, it could be really dark. I think what looks kind of nice, and if we are replicating that other design, is to just have like a very subtle kind of, maybe we did go a little yellow. How's this looking? It's almost like yellow, isn't it? This is a little smaller. So again, guys, you're just playing around, getting it how you want it, just having a tweak until you're happy. Maybe we move that around a bit more. You can bring that in. And then we click on the background again, and maybe we play with that a little bit more. Maybe we make it a little bit more green. This is cool. I mean, you could even have a gradient on the background if you want. But now what we want to do is, I'm kind of happy with that, but I'll just show you quickly if you wanted to add this border. There's a number of ways you can do that. I find the quickest way is, again, just another rectangle. We'll make it white just up there. If you want a white border, obviously you can change the border to whatever color you want. Now, this is just a rectangle that is covering on top of all these other layers. How we make it into a border is that we use the contour tool, which is this one here. And then as you can see, so there's two settings we want to make sure we're on. We want to make sure we have miter joints, which all that means it's like squared off rather than rounded. So we click that on, and then we want to make sure we also have force open, because that will make sure that we'll create a space and it will cut that space out so you can see what is underneath it, if you know what I mean. But it's the best way would be for me to show you. So as you can see up here, if you keep an eye on this, it will go up and down as I create this shape, whether I go inside or outside. And what we want is 20 mil, but we want minus 20 mil. You don't need to put millimeters, you just put the 20 in. And then what you need to do is say bake appearance, and that will, those changes you were making won't be fixed until you press bake appearance. And that is it, guys. That's the finished article. I will zoom in. It's looking really good. Like I say, how accurate did we get? Like pretty similar. Yeah, it's a bit more pastel, this one. But these are some other types of design that I've done with this. You know, this is what you can do. This took me quite a bit longer, kind of tweaking and playing with the colors. And as you can see, this is like yellow, orange, pink, and kind of red with a pink background. Looks really good. And then this is a blue one. As you can see, like you can really have like a nice play around. Don't know why that border isn't fully white, but yeah, you can play and do all kinds of different designs. And yeah, just fill your boots. So I hope that was interesting. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, if you want a design like this, if you love this poster and you'd love to see this on your wall, there'll be links in my description to my Etsy store, and then there's links to some other video tutorials for Etsy. But hope you enjoy the video, guys. See you in the next one.